Hey guys, and welcome back to another Talking Mods. On today's episodes, I'm going to talk about the truth behind the tire industry. I'm going to talk about profit margins. I'm going to talk about where things are coming from and how it really works. So let's roll that intro. Okay guys, on today's episode, I'm going to be using my personal experience and I'm going to talk to you guys what happens in the tire industry, how it really works, so you guys understand what real margins are, so you guys can go get the best deals. And if you stick around all the way to the end, I'll talk about how to get some good deals and some good information that you probably don't even know about on the tire industry because nobody really talks about it too much. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It really does help us all out. And if you guys have questions, the comments, we check them all out and we do read it. So again, my personal experience, I'm the CEO. I've been doing this for 17 years at Mod Bargains, and we do sell tires. Now we sell tires with our wheels as a complementary piece. So I have some experience in it. Now we're not the biggest in the tire industry. We do a fairly good amount of volume. And you know, you can see that through our Instagram and everything else that we have. You can always see that, hey, we're mounting wheels and tires. Now, are we making big margins on it? No! 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 We're not. And that's really kind of where this conversation goes into. Why do it? What's going on in the industry? So tires, there really isn't that much margin in it. And when you're talking about margin on it, for example, some Michelin tires for us, we literally will make about 2 to 3%. Some of it will be up to like 8, maybe if we got lucky, it'll be a 10% margin. Now that's not very good margin. You can't really sustain a business doing that, right? And that's why tires are not our business. So how do most shops do it? Why are they okay with making less margin on tires? Well, because they're selling their services, right? So they're selling the mounting and balancing, and they're selling those kind of services, and they're trying to get you into the door and trying to sell you other services. But the tire industry has become extremely competitive over the last 20 years or so. It's gotten really competitive thanks to the internet. So you guys are getting the very best deal on tires generally. How this works though for dealers on the dealer side is the more that they sell, usually they get incentivized on kickbacks on the back end. Now let me explain that. Every manufacturer, now you have to sign up with different manufacturers, and every manufacturer, you'll notice that when you go to some tire places, they have preferred brands that they sell. So some place might be all Goodyear, some places might have more Bridgestone, and that's what they'll recommend because they want to maintain that amount of volume. Now, when you call us, we'll just say, hey, whatever you prefer. We have some of the preferred ones, but most of our preferred ones are based off of, hey, this is what we really like, and I'll talk about quality in general, but this is what we like and what we use. But again, when you have that, you sign up with a program with them. So these dealers are signing up with a program with them, and that's what's known as like a kickback. Now, if you're involved in other industries, if you're in the cigarette industry, there used to be a kickback for them. Car dealerships, when they show you the invoice, there's actually a kickback for them. They make like an additional $50 to $100 on top of a car besides the invoice for selling a certain amount of units. Now, the same thing happens with the tire industry. We're not talking about a whole lot of money. We're talking about $2 to $4. So guys, I'm giving you this information because it's been kept secret, but not a big deal, honestly. $2 to $4 additional, really not a big deal in terms of tires, but it's a kickback. Now, so if we sell enough units and we meet those requirements, let's say we had to sell 500 units for 6 months, then we might qualify for a $3 kickback on those specific tires. So you might hear a rep when you go to a place that's going to try to sell you certain things.
Sell me this pen.
Sometimes, not all the time. It really depends on the people and what they're trying to achieve. So just understand that. And then there's sometimes also what some brands will have, these extra bonus points. And that's kind of how we buy, like, you'll sometimes see, hey, we're wearing gear, and it'll say like Michelin, or it'll say Michelin hat, or whatever it might be, whatever brand it might be. And we use those points that we accumulate to buy it. It's not a whole lot of money worth. Plus, we're advertising again, so they give those points because we're going to re-advertise for them, right? So it's a good system for them, but at the retailer level, there really isn't that much margin in there, right? And for a business to even stay on the internet and be somewhat profitable, they really need to be operating at least a 15 to 20% margin. That's really low compared to the old days when people were trying to, they're making 40%, 30%, and so forth. So again, they're going to be selling you the additional services. For us, you guys are buying wheels from us, so we just offer, hey, we're going to do the tires for you guys as well. It's a complimentary piece. Plus, we take care of the additional fees in other ways. Sometimes we'll have promotions. So what you really want to do is if you match it up with a promotion of, hey, I'm getting free mounting and balancing, that already ate away the cost of the profit there from the tires, but we're able to continue serving you guys. So that's the reality on the tires in terms of margin. Now, how do you increase that margin, you might be asking? And who's making all that money? Great question, if you are asking that. So for most brands, to get in where you need to be a distributor, you need to do about 10,000 units. Wow. That's quite a bit of money, because for us, the average tire price for us in a car modification scene is, our average price is about $280 per tire. I think if you were talking about like a company that was doing for Corollas, Camrys, and so forth, it'd be around $120, $140 per tire. So at that price point, that's a lot of money to go and invest, and most people are not going to invest in that. So what happens is we have a middleman. So there's us as the retailer, and there's the middleman, the distributors. We're given a retail price point. The distributors are buying these heavy items, in bulk. They're buying in 10,000 units, and from there, they're making their margin. They're making about 20 to 30%. So who's making the majority of that money? It's going to be the tire manufacturers. They're going to get the majority of that profit. It's pretty wild. Like when you really think about it, we're not going to be making that much. So when you're going up to someone and trying to get a discount on all this, it really is not going to happen, right? It doesn't make any sense. The one major fact is, and you're probably thinking, okay, Tire Rack, obviously Tire Rack, and this Tire Rack had the effect about 20 years ago, and they've really affected the marketplace. We all know the price that Tire Rack is selling. We're all looking at it. If they're going to be ever competitive, we're going to match Tire Rack's price. So when you call Mod Bargains, you call us and we're going to be hello. And then obviously our prices are going to be competitive within Tire Racks. Now, tire prices do change, guys, and they fluctuate on a regular basis. They're based off of oil prices, and that's how they usually fluctuate, right? As gas prices go up, tire prices go up. Just be aware of that. So it's always hard for some websites to maintain it, but Tire Rack is a major one. And Tire Rack was one of the first people to kind of really solve this, where they said, okay, we have the money, we're going to buy in bulk, and we're going to sell, and basically they took out the distributor out of it, and they were retailer and right to the consumer. So we match that price, and we basically make nothing. And that's why tire prices, the margins have gone to such a low where it's so difficult to make anything. So Tire Rack is still going to be profitable. They're still going to make their little 15% because of the amount of volume, but the majority of your retailers, your mom and pop stores, are not going to be able to get those kind of volumes. Hopefully that makes sense. Tire Rack's done a great thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think they're getting you guys a great price. Obviously, we match it. Most places will match it for you guys. And there's always some brands that they will not carry, and they won't have that direct relationship. They'll have like Michelin, but for example, we'll have like Toyo. We have a direct tuner relationship. So there's certain brands that if you want to get involved with, like you want those specific tires, you need to go with a specialty shop for. But overall, Tire Rack's going to give you an amazing, amazing price. And real quickly, I'm going to give you also, just so you understand it in the tire industry, since I'm taking off the veil here. Tires, the tire manufacturers look at tires in three ways. The premium line, which is going to include like the Michelin, Bridgestones, Continental. Those are all going to be at the top. Then you're going to have your middle tier. That's going to be like your BFGs. That's going to be your General Tires. There you go, General Tires. It's going to be your Firestone. It's going to be some other brands there in the middle, a Hankook and so forth. And then after that, you've got your lower tier models. So you've got high, middle, and low. And you can always tell which ones are low tires. You can always tell by the pricing. And you get what you pay for. I'm always going to tell you guys, you get what you pay for. The performance, the stopping power, you're going to get what you pay for. If it's an all-season tire, how it performs in the rain and in the wet, it's going to make a difference. So you obviously need to pick the tire that's right for your application. Always do that, guys. If it's a performance type of tire, if you're going to be using it in the summer, get a summer tire, right? Get a summer performance tire. If you're going to be using it all year long, consider an all-season tire, or consider a high-performance all-season tire. So there are a lot of different quality options out there, and you can keep going further and further down when you see lower and lower price points. I personally won't put them on my own vehicle. Some people will say good reviews about it. I have yet to see them perform very well, but you know, obviously your budget is what it is, and I think, you know, it all depends on you. It depends on your budget. So there's no like secret magic sauce on why this one's cheaper than the other. It comes down to, yeah, there's some branding and stuff in the higher tier, but the technology is significantly better, and they can afford the tire business. There's only a few, like, so Michelin's like considered one of the best, right? Very few of them can afford these top chemists who build the material for these tires, right? And I think like Michelin is the only one still at this moment that has a dual compound tire that's out there. So dual compound meaning one for wet, one for dry. So you can understand that they've got a lot of technology. I'm not trying to promote them here. I think there's some other ones that can be even better in terms of grip and all kinds of stuff. Again, it just depends on what technology and for what application. So this isn't a tire review. So understand that about the qualities. Now, let's talk about Costco.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
Costco is a whole other animal, right? Because I know some of you guys are not buying your tires at Costco, but if you know people who are, how does that work? And how are they making their margin? Because their prices are pretty low too. Well, Costco's really also had to figure it out. Costco has a huge buying power. I was doing the calculations before this video started out. They had like 795 stores. We're talking about minimum of 4 bays. They do about, let's say they do a set in a half hour. If you do that, on the high side, we're talking about $20 billion just in tires.
What?
Yes, $20 billion just in tires. You can do the math on it, just on an average price. And on the low side, let's say $4 billion. So they have tremendous buying power to buy heavy amounts. And what's crazy, what they've done is they take that same tire. So I'm going to use again that Michelin tire because I was using it already. So for example, the top tier right now for Michelin is a PS4S, and it's got the greatest technology for Michelin. Well, Costco wants to sell you a Michelin. It might not be a PS4S, and you don't really know the difference, right? Well, what Costco's done is they don't sell a PS4S, they sell a Michelin Primacy all season.
The Michelin Primacy Tour AS was engineered to deliver,
or Michelin Primacy 4S. It's a different tire. It might have even different components. I don't know exactly what they are, but they are a different tire. They're private labeled. So because they know that they can't just put Kirkland tires on there like the rest of their brand, they make it a certain tire for them. So Michelin Primacy, or I think they have Bridgestone, and they have some other ones, right? So they've really kind of figured that out, because now you can't go and price match. You can't go and look around for different prices. That's their price, and it's cheaper in that route, right? So pretty interesting method that they've done. They're able to keep their margin that way because you can't shop it and you can't look for a different price point. It's pretty clever, honestly. It's so clever, and they have such big buying powers that when I was at Michelin, one of the rooms that was in the building, one of the major buildings, a quarter of that building was dedicated just to training specifically for Costco and Costco employees, because they sell so many tires. Again, as always, you get what you pay for. All right. Now I said I would give you guys a bonus if you guys stayed all the way through this. So here's your bonuses. Number one, tires. If this is probably something most people do not know, it's not talked about very often, but if a tire has not been driven on, now we all know that tires have an expiration date. If you didn't know, they have kind of an expiration date. They've got a tire stamp when it was produced, and that can typically go about 3 to 5 years, about 5 years to. In general. That's not 100% actually true. It doesn't really expire. Okay. Now, there could be what's called dry rot on the sides and so forth. Again, modern day tires don't really have this issue. It was an old issue with tires in the past, and a lot of it with the new oils that they use has been improved upon. But really what that's based off of is if you've been driving on that tire. If you've been driving on the tire, what that means is if it heat cycles. So if a tire is brand new and it has never been heat cycled, it really doesn't become expired. So that's your bonus thing that most people do not know, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So it needs to actually get driven on to have a full heat cycle. Now, if you're buying used tires, then I recommend, hey, that someone drove on these, you need to check out the date, check out the condition. Besides the tread life, you actually really should look at the sidewalls, all of that to check it out. So, so if you are buying an older tire, don't be afraid of it if it's brand new, right? So if Tire Rack is selling an older tire, not something to be afraid of. Take advantage of that price point. Now, when they have those closeouts and those kind of prices, they are violating all their price points, right? If we're having a sale on tires and so forth, we're also really just moving the units out there. They're sold so cheap that as a consumer, you guys really get to take advantage of it. Now, if you can match that up with a rebate as well, the rebates, when those happens, look for those because those are significant. Hankook, for example, will do like $100 to $120. Michelin will do like, you know, $60 to $80. And these go for certain periods of time. They'll have one for Black Friday. Again, if you're a dealer, if you're a direct dealer, like you have that program, you'll be able to advertise it, you know about it. So those are a really great way to get some really good savings, and that's when I suggest buying tires if you can hold out. If you can't hold out, buy it. Obviously, your safety is number one, most important. Tires are what, you know, connects you to the ground. So look for those kind of deals. But rebates are amazing. They are a big discounts. And guess who gives them out? Not us retailers. It's the tire manufacturers. It's not the distributors. It's the people who are making the margin that I started from in the beginning of this video, who are taking all the margin. It's the tire manufacturers. So when they're giving out those rebates, $100 or $120 for a set, that's some significant stuff. So hopefully that explains it. You understand now who's making margin and how they're making margin of the big boys, Costco and them, and why they're able to give you, hey, buy 3, get 1 free. They're still going to make money. But us as a retailer, the mom and pop shops, we're not going to be making anything crazy, but we're here to help you guys out. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and kind of just revealing the behind the scenes on the tire industry. If you guys have questions, please put them in the comments. I might have forgotten some stuff to discuss, and I'm looking forward to it. If you like this video, click the like, and I will see you on the next Talking Mods.